Chapter 293, Pious. Inviting me to join your team without even checking my background or confirming my strength. Are you that confident, Mr. Fool's Oracle? Lumion couldn't help but criticize, feeling unsure about the whole situation. He looked at Blazing Danitz and responded with a smile, "No." Blazing Danitz acknowledged tersely, his voice gaining intensity as if confirming it for the last time. Lumion slipped his right hand into his pocket, maintaining his smile. "Not interested." "What a joke. How can I complete the Tarot Club's mission if I join your team?" "This requires your consultation with Madam Magician." Danitz's dark blue yet bright eyes narrowed slightly, his aura instantly becoming more intense. Lumion felt as if he were facing a spear or a loaded gun pressed to his forehead. Fear and danger washed over him. However, he didn't look away and met Blazing Danitz's gaze with a calm determination, as if facing an apex predator. After a brief silence that filled the air with tension, Blazing Danitz broke into a smile. "Not bad, you're quite resolute and bold. I admire you even more." With those words, the former great pirate, now the Fool's Oracle, turned around and strolled towards the well-lit street in the distance. Confidence naturally breeds resoluteness. Lumion thought silently as he withdrew his right hand from his pocket, revealing a tarot card held between his thumb and index finger. The tarot card, 7 of Wands. Though he couldn't fathom Blazing Danitz's impromptu recruitment, he felt somewhat glad to have encountered Mr. Fool's Oracle. This meant that the Fool Church held substantial strength in Trier. After leaving Lavigny docks, Lumion hopped onto a public carriage and soon arrived at Avenue du Boulevard. He walked to 19 Rue Scheer and met Mr. K beneath the headquarters of the psychic organization. The Aurora Order Oracle remained seated in the red armchair, his face concealed in the deep shadows of his black hood. His voice rasped as he inquired, "How's your progress in gaining Gardner Martin's trust?" Lumion replied calmly, "I've already joined the Iron and Blood Cross Order." Mr. K fell silent for a moment before asking, "How did you gain Gardner Martin's trust? How did he test you? And how did you pass the test?" The Aurora Order Oracle altered his usual demeanor, posing 3 questions at once. Lumion chuckled. Well, there was no need to gain Gardner Martin's trust. Simply joining the Iron and Blood Cross Order earned loyalty. Upon hearing this, Mr. K, who had been reclining in his chair, sat up straight. The shadows in the basement seemed to stir, almost alive. With his expertise and knowledge, discerning the hidden meaning behind Lumion's words wasn't difficult for him. And it undoubtedly spelled danger. Lumion had indeed become a member of the Iron and Blood Cross Order, pledging his allegiance to them. He was here to report while bringing the powerful figures of the Iron and Blood Cross Order. Lumion smiled. Unfazed by the immense pressure radiating from Mr. K, he proceeded to recount how he informed Gardner Martin that he had become a Sequence 7 pyromaniac, leading up to the vigil at 13 Avenue du Marché and the formal initiation ceremony. He didn't hold back the fact that he had engaged in an underground transaction and fled in terror after encountering Supervisor Olson's monstrous creation. As Lumion finished, Mr. K stood up, excitement in his tone as he verified Lumion's various details at 13 Avenue du Marché repeatedly. Upon realizing that Lumion had used the honorific name at a crucial moment and received a divine revelation of "don't respond," Mr. K burst into a fit of maniacal laughter. "Ha ha 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 ha, just as I thought, piousness is the only way out." The hooded oracle's laughter grew wilder, echoing through the basement, making Lumion's eardrums tremble and a faint scent of salt and blood fill the air. "Ha ha 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 ha." Mr. K laughed so hard he nearly doubled over. He no longer concealed his condition. The whole basement seemed enveloped in darkness, and he stood as the source of danger behind it all. After a while, Mr. K paid no mind to Lumion's presence, instead kneeling down, lowering his body to pray almost silently, as if thanking the Lord that created everything, the omnipotent and omniscient God. Lumion managed to keep his lips from twitching. Before leaving for Lavigny docks, he had performed a ritual, praying to the Fool for the angel's protection. He praised the true creator of the Aurora Order and drew a cross on his chest, following an up-to-down, left-to-right order. With a sudden display of piousness, Mr. K stood up and said with fervor, "This was all arranged by the Lord. He brought you here to join us." "It depends on which Lord you're talking about," Lumion muttered, finding amusement in the situation, and replied humbly, "What he says will come true." This was one of the religious texts of the Aurora Order taught by Mr. K. Lumion, had always regarded it as a sermon praising the deity's strength. He found it quite useful in the present conversation. The hooded Mr. K nodded, thoroughly satisfied. I had arranged for others to approach the exposed members of the Iron and Blood Cross Order before, but they lost contact with me and stopped reporting. They even put me in considerable danger. Now I understand why they failed, their lack of piousness. In the face of danger and corruption, they didn't even think to recite our Lord's honorific name and seek his protection. But you, at the critical moment, had only my Lord in your mind. That's the kind of piousness I admire the most. That's why you successfully joined the Iron and Blood Cross Order without being corrupted. With only faith and a deity left in your mind, will this affect your intelligence? Lumion observed Mr. K, gaining a deeper understanding of his state of mind and way of thinking. Mr. K paced back and forth in front of Lumion, his excitement palpable in his voice. "Based on the information you brought back, I now have a better understanding of the Iron and Blood Cross Order's problems. I have a new insight into their current situation and their intentions. I can say you've completed half of the mission I assigned you. Next, you need to investigate the source of the abnormality, the exact timeline, and their roadmap for inciting the riot. If they find a way to enter Fourth Epoch Trier or a passageway, you must inform me immediately. Don't let them succeed." Mr. K pondered for a few seconds and said, "The first option is to take out my finger and ignite it. As long as the environment isn't special, I can sense it and roughly understand the cause. If that doesn't work, pray to my Lord immediately, just like this time." "All right," Lumion agreed. When the time came, he might have to try contacting Madam Magician. It seemed like he would be very busy. After assigning the subsequent mission, Mr. K looked at Lumion in a friendly tone and asked, "Since you've completed half of the mission and brought back crucial information, I can't be stingy with the rewards. Tell me, what do you want?" "I want a mystical item of bizarre nature. If you don't have it, a corresponding beyonder characteristic will do. I'll find an artisan to craft it myself," Lumion answered without hesitation. Mr. K let out a chuckle. "You deserve that. Come back in 3 days. I'll give you a few choices, or I'll offer what I think suits you best." "Thank you, Mr. K," Lumion expressed his sincere gratitude. This was much more generous than what the Iron and Blood Cross Order offered. "It's not me you should be thanking, but the Lord," Mr. K replied with a smile. Helpless, Lumion drew the cross again. "Praise be to you, the creator of all things. Praise be to you, who carries the burdens of the world's sins." Mr. K chimed in, praising the true creator. "Unfortunately, our Aurora Order doesn't have things like godfathers or godchildren. Otherwise, I'd be more than willing to baptize you again. Why do so many people express their admiration by wanting to be someone else's father?" Lumion found it amusing. In high spirits after Mr. K's assurance, Lumion made his way back to Auberge du Coq Doré. He headed straight to the basement bar and ordered a glass of the unique textured distilled lemon liquor. As he chatted with the others, he found amusement in Charlie's return, spreading all sorts of rumors. Meanwhile, intermittent singing and clapping rhythms filled the air, creating a lively atmosphere that lasted until the early hours of the morning. When the customers, who had to work at dawn, finally departed to their residences, the bar quieted down. Lumion realized he had been spending too many nights at Auberge du Coq Doré lately, neglecting his sleep at Salle de Bal Brise. He decided it was time to balance things out and head there next. As he left Auberge du Coq Doré and walked along Rue Anarchy, where there were no gas street lamps, he noticed a figure emerging from the dark shadows ahead. The person was almost as tall as Lumion, with broad shoulders and a muscular build, dressed in a linen shirt, a brown jacket, and a brownish-yellow wide-brimmed hat. Gray hair adorned their head, and dark eyes stared intently. The man's hairy skin added to his rugged appearance, giving off a wild sense of beauty. Having halted Lumion, the man, whose age was difficult to gauge from his appearance, lifted his chin slightly and inquired, "Are you Cécile Dubois? Do you truly think yourself worthy of addressing me by my name?" Lumion contemplated responding in a similar manner, uncertain of the man's intentions and sensing a hint of arrogance. Thus, he chose to pretend. He asked cautiously, "And who might you be?" The man remained composed, showing no signs of being affected. With a cold expression, he pressed on, "Tell me who the boss of your Save mob is."